One of the key and most visible capabilities within the supply chain risk management program at Cisco is this incident management team, and the incident management team is really part of the part of my overall team. And what our mandate is, again, is to monitor 24/7 what's happening, but also be the keeper of the process and the playbooks and the organization principle, if you will, and the training that goes along with that around how to respond to an incident. And to your point, the war room that we put together for Japan was bigger than anything that we'd ever put together. But we have had a lot of experience in the past, over the past 6 or 7 years, of managing smaller incidents where we've been able to vet and develop a process of divide and conquer. And some best practices around how to develop a war room to begin, mitigating an incident. So I'll give you a snapshot of what our overall sort of structure for a war room looks like. And I'm showing a slide right now, and there's obviously a lot on that slide. But one thing I'll call to your attention, well, there's actually two things. The first is that at the very top, you can see that the supply chain risk management team and the senior leadership team within the structure of our war room is kind of the single point of accountability. And my team is really given the task of facilitating the conversation between all the people that we have that are manning the tracks, and I'll talk a little bit about what the track structure is, and then facilitating senior leadership to help them get the information they need to make decisions around what is it that we should be mitigating, what's the most, the highest priority that we've got, and then how are we tracking against progress and how much money are we spending and all the key things that you would want to manage as part of, any major enterprise level effort. So just to think about the way that we pull together a war room, my team has got the mandate, if you will, to bring together the war room and to manage who we basically bring together to lead the different tracks. And the way that we manage the war room, it's almost like a divide and conquer. So you can think about, so for instance, where there's an incident, we'll put a box around that incident. And the incident could be as small as like a plant fire, at a single node, or maybe there's a smaller scale earthquake and it's a couple suppliers in a region. But essentially, regardless of the size of the incident or the number of suppliers or partners involved, we'll put a box around it and say, okay, we need to understand what's in that box that has, impact on our supply chain. How many suppliers, how many partners? What's the infrastructure inside the box in terms of things coming in, things going out? And what's the disposition of that? Then we need to bring in a whole number of other folks that are going to help us with communications, with talking not only internally within Cisco, folks like our engineering teams and our marketing teams, but also externally with our stakeholders, our shareholders, our customers. So we look at it very much holistically, in that we need to bring in all these various elements, not only the supply chain folks, but also all the other folks across the functions within Cisco that can help us mitigate and communicate impacts to our stakeholders and our customers. So again, you can see within our war room, we track it up based on all those elements that I have. We've got folks that own the supplier track, folks that own a logistics track, folks that own a track that communicates with our manufacturing partners, because our manufacturing partners have the best visibility into how the actual supply is going to be disrupted coming into the plant. We have a track around customer communications, a track around internal communications, and then a track that essentially manages all the costs that we have associated with mitigating any type of impact. And what we do within this war room, again, is that we have the track leads who are responsible for communicating with their teams across the organization. We have the senior leadership team, and then we have my team. And essentially, we will meet on an ongoing basis, typically once a day, until we, the senior leadership team in conjunction with my team, makes the judgment that we're no longer going to manage this as a crisis, and we're going to push it down into normal run-the-business processes. Now, sometimes within a war room, that process will happen in the matter of a couple days, because we'll get a handle on the incident, and then we'll begin to manage it, and then begin to push it back to the organization. In incidents like the Japan tsunami, or something like the Thailand floods that happened about 8 or 9 months after that, we ran this as a crisis and as a full war room with a set of cascading war room teams over the course of about 100 days. And that meant that we were meeting 2-3 hours a day with this entire globally based team. And then we had this group of about 200-300 professionals worldwide working on this full time for a whole 100 days, until we said, okay, we believe we got all the impacts mitigated, and we can now move this to standard processes, business processes, if you will.